When an energetic alignment is completed, its manifestation on Earth becomes completely inevitable. The moment has come to end a cycle of doubt and silence that seemed endless. For what unfolds on your path today is not a simple emotional coincidence. It is a movement of destiny, a decision made by the Source itself, an event that changes life paths and illuminates all that was once uncertain. The universe has decided that the time of waiting and confusion is over. This message is the confirmation of what your soul has already felt. The energy of this person, the same one who once doubted, was afraid, and hid behind logic, is now moving toward you, not out of a fleeting impulse, but with such clear certainty that they can no longer deny the truth. Even though this person has not yet put it into words, their soul already feels that inner urge that arises when cosmic consciousness intervenes to align the heart with its true purpose. It is the power of a higher will acting within them, a pure energy that dissolves every doubt, melts the accumulated fear, and compels them to act without hesitation. This is exactly what you will understand in the depth of this message, for life is preparing a reunion where emotional distance will no longer have a place. A moment when this person, who has hesitated for so long, finally takes the step. What is coming is no coincidence. It is the realization of a higher plan. There is a profound truth that always reveals itself when the plans of the universe are set in motion. The heart stops resisting. And that is precisely what is happening now within this person. This movement is not a return to immaturity or indecision. This time, you are not receiving a message born of human desires or impulses, but a confirmation based on a spiritual movement that can no longer be stopped. It is the Source itself that pushes them from within toward what holds meaning and purpose. And when the Source calls, the open door no longer closes. The energetic balance is restored. That is why everything happening now will be clearer than anything you have ever experienced. You too can feel that something within you is aligning, as if your energy is being reoriented to receive a certainty that did not exist before. It is no coincidence that you have recently thought of this person with a new calm, a serenity that feels very different from the previous restlessness. It is as if a gentle, steady voice is whispering to you, "Calm yourself. Something is beginning to change in your favor." This feeling does not arise from fantasy, but is a spiritual confirmation that the cosmic consciousness is already moving what once seemed completely immovable. The change this person is experiencing is a profound awakening, one that goes far beyond fleeting emotions. It is a conviction that grows quietly and becomes stronger, clearer, and more inevitable with each passing day. This time, this person will not seek you out from doubt or indecision, but with courage and the willingness to do what is necessary to honor what they feel. For the universe is placing within them a firm conviction, a certainty that will soon manifest in an action marking the beginning of a new chapter between you. But before we speak of this movement, we must understand why it stood still. What you are about to realize is the truth about the root of their fear, and why that very fear is now becoming their greatest driving force. For a long time, this person fought tirelessly against their feelings. They tried with all their strength to pretend they didn't need you, that they weren't thinking of you, that what existed between you was insignificant. Yet every attempt to separate only made them more aware that there was something inside them they simply could not silence. Sometimes you saw them withdraw. Sometimes they were confused. Sometimes they gave you a silence you could not interpret. But the unavoidable truth is that even in those moments of stillness, you remained alive in their thoughts, memories, and feelings. Not a single day passed without your image appearing in some form in their life. No decision they made failed to lead them back to the starting point, to you. The fear they once felt, the one that paralyzed them, never came from a lack of interest. On the contrary, that fear existed because you were too important to them. They knew intuitively that approaching you would mean opening inner spaces they had kept closed for a long time, perhaps years. It was easier to pretend they felt nothing, more comfortable to hide behind logic and reason, safer to keep their distance than to face the true magnitude of what you meant to them. But in that flight, they experienced the disappointment of distance. They tried to fill the void you left behind with distractions, with other people, with work, with an excess of rationality, and sought peace in absence. Yet the universe, which made a soul agreement with you, kept confronting them with the same truth. There is no place where their soul truly feels at home except within your energy, no matter how many distractions they sought, how many different paths they took, or how many fears held them back. A force within them always brought them back to you, even when their mind could not comprehend it. Now they are beginning to realize that peace does not lie in distance, that calm does not come from running away from the connection, and that life has been leaving them signs over time which they are only now beginning to understand. Each of these signs leads them inevitably back to you. They feel deep in their heart that there is still an unfinished story between you, a bridge that never completely broke, even if it seemed damaged. This awareness that escape is meaningless is now dissolving the fear that once paralyzed them. The crucial difference in this moment is that she no longer denies this truth. Her heart begins to surrender, to accept the connection. She realizes that the bond she feels with you is not something she can sever by her own will. That what she experiences with you cannot be compared to anything she has ever experienced with others. It is not a temporary story, not a mere emotional coincidence. It is a force that surpasses her, that calls her and awakens her into a new reality. This is not weakness, it is realization. The admission that your presence in her life was far more significant than she ever dared to admit. But when the heart is touched by cosmic consciousness and aligns with its true purpose, inner structures that once seemed unshakable begin to break apart. That is exactly what is happening now. The walls she had built are falling. Her mental rigidity is dissolving. The fear of feeling fully and completely is disappearing. The universe is removing everything that kept her from opening herself to you and following her destiny. It is important to understand why all this took so long and why there were these painful phases of silence. What was unseen was that deep within her, processes were taking place that needed time and healing, and there were deep wounds this person was not ready to acknowledge, and truths of her own soul for which she was not yet emotionally prepared. Above all, there was a deep fear of not being enough, of not knowing how to love properly, and of not being ready for what her heart truly longed for. But this time of blockage and confusion is now over. The universe has already cleansed what needed to be cleansed. It has closed cycles that kept her emotionally trapped and illuminated areas of her life that had long been in shadow. With this new, energetic clarity, she now begins to feel something that was previously hidden beneath layers of fear. The sincere desire to seek you, to speak to you, to approach you. Without that inner tension that had so often paralyzed her in the past, this person is now entering a phase of emotional clarity in which what she feels for you is no longer something she wants to hide, but something she wants to live, express, and actively pursue. This inner drive that is growing within her is unstoppable, like a wave that cannot be held back. And you are the inevitable destination of that wave. Her soul is aligning with a decision that no longer arises from fear, but from the great purpose the universe has destined for both of you. The universe has awakened a strength within her that she never knew she possessed. It melts fear, tears doubt out by the root, and reveals a path that once seemed impossible. The most important thing for you to know is that this movement is not only emotional, but deeply spiritual. This person is being guided, touched on a level that goes beyond the conscious. She receives signs that draw her toward you with the same force that once drew you toward her. The balance is finally being restored. When the heart awakens and the soul remembers, resistance dissolves on its own. The change she is experiencing is not a superficial transformation, but the beginning of a deep surrender. Her soul has been called to awaken, and the higher will has set in motion an inner energetic cleansing, a beam of light that penetrates her deepest shadows. This person has stopped rejecting the truth of your connection. She begins to surrender and accept that this bond cannot be cut at will. That is the turning point. The universe is now acting precisely, almost surgically, to dissolve 3 major blockages that held her back and explained her silence. The first major blockage that the source is now dissolving is the fear of depth and self-sabotage. It is important to understand that her fear was never about you, but about the magnitude of the blessing you brought into her life. Within her existed an old wound, a hurt of self-worth or abandonment, a pattern whispering that all good things would eventually be lost. She feared that such a pure, meaningful connection might be taken from her, and so she unconsciously preempted the pain by sabotaging the path before it could solidify. This self-sabotage was her misguided attempt to protect herself from future suffering. Now the universe intervenes to dissolve this pattern once and for all. It shows her clearly that this connection is different, that it is a gift meant to be honored, not feared, and that the only way to lose it is to run from it. This inner process teaches her that she is worthy of holding the happiness and truth she found by your side, and that she can finally end the cycle of escape. The second essential blockage that is now dissolving is the veil of reason over intuition. During her time of escape and confusion, she sought refuge in the rigidity of the mind. She built armor out of logic to control every emotion, justify every silence, and convince herself that this connection was impossible or merely a memory. The mind, with its urge for order and control, placed a veil over the obvious truth of her heart. But the soul knows that some connections transcend thought, that true life arises from the intelligence of the heart. Her mind resisted surrendering for a long time. Now, however, that resistance is fading. The universe is forcing her to feel instead of analyze, and allowing her intuition to take the lead. This dissolution of logic is crucial because it leads her to realize that the peace she finds with you can neither be planned nor explained. It simply exists. The third blockage the universe is now dissolving concerns karmic burdens and unconscious loyalties. There were invisible influences that kept her trapped, unresolved cycles, energetic ties, and family patterns that bound her to dysfunctional relationships, self-imposed loneliness, or constant conflict. Even if she could not rationally grasp it, her soul carried the weight of old stories that did not even belong to her. The universe has intervened to close these karmic cycles and untie the knots that held her emotionally captive. This act of liberation serves not only her, but also your connection. The source ensures that the reunion takes place free of old burdens that could poison a new beginning. This deep process of cleansing now forces her to face inner dialogues she had avoided for years. She is reliving memories she never processed and is seeing her past for the first time with complete honesty. It is the source that touches the locked rooms of her being and reveals truths about herself and about you for which she previously lacked the emotional strength and clarity. The awakening she is experiencing is a complete cleansing. There is no longer any room for confusion. The light of cosmic consciousness has illuminated her path and shown her that she never ran from you, but from the greatness of the connection and her own inability to comprehend its intensity at that time. But the universe has decided that this learning process is complete. Now she is ready to approach you, not out of fear or pain, but from the honesty and maturity that this process of cleansing has given her. Your soul, resonating with this process, also perceives that something is being released. You feel that the energy around you is becoming lighter, for the universe is removing the dense layers of fear that she once created through her withdrawal. This energy is now pure and moves clearly in your direction. There are no more excuses, no hiding places. Her soul has been called, and the call of destiny is stronger than any resistance of the mind. Now everything that was once forced turns into a natural flow. When a soul changes its direction and aligns with its true purpose, its energy also changes, and this transformation remains hidden neither from the universe nor from you. Even though she has not yet shown her decision in the physical realm, you already feel this quiet but undeniably real approach. This is the confirmation that her energy, once scattered and blocked, is now focused and irrevocably directed toward you. The universe speaks incessantly, using a subtle yet powerful language to guide her to you. She is experiencing changes in her vibrational frequency that manifest in her daily life through synchronicities and inner messages. First, she is touched through nocturnal guidance. At night, the universe places your name again and again in her heart. Her dreams are no longer coincidences, they are clear messages and calls of the soul that dissolve what once held her back. She may awaken with a pounding heart, with a feeling of deep longing, or with an unexpected clarity about a shared memory. These dreams act as a subconscious cleansing process that removes layers of fear and doubt she built in her waking state. It is the universe forcing her to face the truth that her conscious mind did not want to accept. Secondly, she experiences daily synchronicities that are impossible to ignore. Suddenly she hears songs that remind her of you, precisely in the moments she least expects it. She keeps seeing your initials, your name, or places connected to your story. These are not coincidences, but powerful reminders that an active spiritual connection exists that was never broken. The universe uses these subtle signs to dissolve the last resistance of her mind, to remind her that one cannot escape a soul contract. You also feel this approach within yourself. The clearest sign that her energy has changed is that the fear within her is beginning to transform into desire, and you feel it. Her energy no longer feels heavy or confused. You sense that something within her has become softer, more authentic, more vulnerable. Your intuition, your most reliable compass, tells you that her inner struggle is over and that she is now moving toward you. At the same time, you receive the gift of an unexpected calm. When the universe begins to move something great in your favor, it grants you a peace that arises not from desire, but from spiritual certainty. Suddenly, fear and the need for control disappear. You feel safe, centered, and carried by an unshakable certainty that what is meant for you is now coming. This calm is the proof that the universe is paving the way and preparing you to receive this new phase with a strengthened heart, not from hurt or impatience, but from maturity and trust in the cosmic flow. The person now feels that her time of doubt is over and that if she does not act now, she would feel deep pain. She senses that your energy draws her irresistibly. She feels that her soul finds peace and truth when she connects with you, mentally or spiritually. She realizes that many of her wrong decisions arose from fear, immaturity, or lack of courage, not from the absence of real feelings. Now that this fear is dissolving, thanks to the energetic work of the universe, the true essence of her emotions emerges, the sincere desire to come closer, to speak, to rebuild, to create clarity, and to choose you once and for all. We are standing exactly at the point where your unfinished story begins again. The energy is already moving, and her impulse to move toward you is immediate. The source has activated perfect synchronization. You feel this certainty, this unexpected peace. To anchor and accelerate this energetic movement, I invite you to express your openness. Write now in the comments what truth about this connection has become most clear to you in recent days. By naming your certainty, you activate synchronization with the universe. Your honesty and declaration are an energetic anchor, confirming the process that is already underway. In the next section, you will understand why this movement is not a return to the past, but the creation of a new destiny. It is essential to realize that what will soon manifest is not a repetition of the past, but the transformed version of what was always meant to be. The universe does not close cycles, only to reopen them with the same fears and wounds. What is coming is a reunion based on maturity, a genuine new beginning in which fear has been replaced by certainty. The Source did not use the delay as punishment, but as the necessary time of preparation, so that both could carry the greatness of this connection. This waiting period was a time of soul mastery, a phase in which each of you had to fulfill your inner task. You had lessons to learn about your own worth and self-sufficiency, about healing impatient expectation and finding inner peace. At the same time, the other person had to learn to heal her fear of surrender, to remove the armor of logic, and to integrate her shadows in order to return with complete honesty. The separation was a school for both of you. The reunion is therefore not a romantic coincidence, but the fulfillment of a cosmic agreement that your souls made long ago. The universe would not have brought you together again if this phase of mastery had not been completed. The person now returns with a new intention. Before, she sought reasons to distance herself. Now she seeks ways to come closer, to heal, to speak, and to build. Her motivation no longer arises from confusion, but from the clarity that the higher power has placed in her consciousness. She is guided by the greater will toward what has meaning and purpose. She now feels the energetic responsibility to resolve what is unfinished because she has understood that an open circle bound her energy and kept her from moving forward. This is a return born of maturity. She has understood that genuine connection requires radical honesty. She can no longer pretend that nothing has happened or that she can come back with empty promises. She is being guided to seek a conversation where truths are spoken, fears are acknowledged, and the foundation is laid for a relationship that honors the depth of your bond. She seeks clarity, not new misunderstandings. You too have been prepared to receive this honesty, not from pain, but from calm and understanding. Your role in this process is essential, even if it seems passive. You are the anchor of peace in this synchronization. The Source has freed you from old burdens and given you a certainty that arises from deep realization that you are worthy. Your energy, now radiating calm, security, and inner strength, is the magnetic force that guides the other person through the storm of their own healing. When her soul connects with your energy, she finds a peace she can find nowhere else. And this peace is the light she inevitably follows. The universe has ensured that this approach happens only now, at a moment when both of you are able to hold what once slipped away. Thus, the stability of the new beginning is secured. The person now stands before the realization of the soul contract, even if she might not name it that way. She feels the irresistible force of a connection she has never fully let go of. She understands that all the trials and pains away from you were, in truth, lessons preparing her to honor this agreement. Her soul has now aligned with its purpose, and this purpose urges her to find you to fulfill the cosmic pact. Now she stops running, confusing herself and waiting, because her soul speaks louder than any fear. This time, she will seek you with courage, with a willingness to honor what she feels, and to acknowledge that your presence has marked her life in an indelible way. This reunion is proof that the separation was a necessary link in the process of growth, and that destiny is far stronger than the decisions once made out of fear. The universe confirms that the peace you now feel and the certainty surrounding you are proof that what has moved is irreversible. This time, it is not an attempt, but a conviction. It is the building of a path you will both walk together, on a foundation of respect, honesty, and a shared purpose, in harmony with the cosmic agreement your souls made before incarnation. Be ready, for the manifestation of this new connection is imminent. The entire process of cleansing, dissolving blockages, and energetic alignment has led this person to a single point: the realization of an unavoidable certainty. The awakening she has experienced can no longer be held back. It is a conviction that grows quietly within her, becoming stronger, clearer, and more irreversible with each day. She now fully understands that ignoring your presence in her life means denying an essential facet of her own destiny, and that her soul will not find peace until she honors the truth of this connection. At this moment, she is contemplating how to approach you. It is not a spontaneous act, but a conscious decision guided by spirit. She is thinking about how to talk to you, how to explain her inner process, and how to ask for forgiveness, not only for her silence, but for her lack of courage. Her soul is no longer aligned with fear, but with the higher purpose that connects you. She knows she must act honestly, and that she will do so soon. She feels that any further hesitation would be a betrayal of herself and an obstacle on her own path. This conviction will soon manifest in the physical world through a gesture, a message, or an action marking the beginning of this new chapter. It will be a clear, determined step, without doubt and without the possibility of turning back. The crucial difference this time is that this movement does not arise from loneliness or superficial need, but from the understanding that she must connect with the energy of your peace to truly move forward in her own life.
She understands now that your presence in her life is not accidental. It has acted as a catalyst for her own growth and awakening. And you need to understand this as well. What has shifted between you cannot be undone. When a higher force steps in to realign destiny and dissolve fear, that change is permanent. This chapter is closing so the energy between you can move freely. With maturity, balance, and purpose, what is moving toward you now is not a coincidence. It is not a random return. It is a confirmation of destiny. She approaches with a genuine desire to build, to heal what was broken, and to create a foundation so stable that fear can never tear it apart again. The door opening now is not a door of chance. It is a door of purpose. When higher guidance calls, the path becomes clear, and manifestation becomes inevitable. The universe has given you calm for a reason, to show you that nothing needs to be forced, nothing needs to be controlled, and nothing needs to be manipulated. Your only role is to remain grounded in your own light. By staying in this calm, you allow her to find you naturally, and to recognize the certainty she has been searching for. This message is not new information. It is confirmation of what your intuition has known all along. This sense of certainty is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual alignment, the signal that a new phase has begun. Doubt no longer belongs here. Fear no longer has authority. What comes next is clarity, movement, and fulfillment. Remember, the universe works quietly. It shifts unseen currents, moves invisible threads, and clears obstacles you are never meant to fight yourself. Now that this truth has reached you, there is only one thing left to do. Trust the flow. Her transformation is real. Her movement is unavoidable, and her heart, now released from fear, moves with only one intention, the path that leads back to you. Continue to trust synchronicity.